Hey, I'm Logan Christopher from Lost Empire Herbs, and I wanted to shoot a video that is about how to take herbs in general, because we're dealing with some stuff that the average person out there just does not know. And this is a companion to the How to Take Herbs ebook that we give away free with your first purchase. In that ebook, you'll find a lot of the same detail here, but much more, and specifically some different recipes on how to combine these different things. We're not talking recipes here, but I wanted to show you the basics of what to do with these things. First off, we do have some capsules available. We didn't start with these, but now we do, and we're working on putting more and more of our products in there. Because the minimum quantities we have to order are quite high, we're not just able to do this with all our products, but we do plan on adding much more. They're capsules, you know how to take capsules, so we're not going to be talking about those anymore. Next up, I want to go on to our tinctures. The average person out there has never worked with a tincture before. It is a very traditional, long time it's been used as a way to take herbs, but the average person, like I said, we're used to capsules and not much else. So what do you do with a tincture? The ideal way to take a tincture is sublingually. Sub meaning under and lingual referring to the tongue. So you're putting it under your tongue and you're holding it there for time. Why do you do this? You do this because the cell walls are thin under the tongue. This allows the most direct way to get into the bloodstream of the human body, short of doing intravenously, which obviously we're not recommending that with any of our herbs here. But you take the dropper here, and when we say dropper full, that usually the dropper full only goes about 30 or about halfway up there, which is about 30 drops. You can count them out. And that is going to be a dose on most things, but sometimes you're doing half a dropper or less than that, sometimes even just drops. And what you do is under your tongue and squirt it like that. And then you hold it here, approximately 30 seconds. You don't have to time it out or anything like that. You can go about your day, but holding it there, that's going to allow time for the components within to absorb into your body.
A few moments later.
Now, with something like pine pollen, this one's higher alcohol than most of our other tinctures. It's going to burn a little bit just because of that high alcohol content, but that's important for, especially with the pine pollen tincture, drawing out those hormonal components and being able to drive them into the body here and thus deliver. That's why the pine pollen tincture is quite different in effects from the pine pollen powder. You still want to do the same thing with all of our other tinctures. The blue vervain, here you have the bitter taste, and that bitter taste is actually driving some of the action there. Once again, hold it there for approximately 30 seconds. You can go about your day, start doing other stuff, and then just swallow it down once you're done with that. That's a basic way to take tinctures. Now let's talk about powders, because powdered herbs is, for the most part, what we have at Lost Empire Herbs. You can see many examples here, and there's much more available. First, notice that the dosage on these herbs varies wildly. We have an example here. Here's our Tomcat Ali. The dose is just 100 milligrams, and you take that twice a day. It comes with this tiny spoon, so you're able to measure that out. Contrast that to our pine pollen powder, and we recommend up to a megadose. You can take a smaller dose, but up to 3 of these tablespoons per day. So you see the dosage varies wildly, and thus how you want to take these is going to change quite a bit as well. The simplest way to take a powder is just to throw it straight in your mouth, like this with the Tomcat Ali. And then you can wash it down with water. Very simple way to do it, but you wouldn't want to do the same thing with this pine pollen megadose. Why not? Too much powder, you're going to end up inhaling some and then coughing it out. It just does not work when you're working with that quantity of powder. But many of our other herbs, what do we have here? Our Schizandra berry. So the spoon isn't always necessary. What I like to do with something like Schizandra or Bacopa, these are both great ones because they're awesome for that mental clarity that you can feel right away, is just put out my hand, dose out a little bit like this, and same sort of thing. Throw it in the mouth. Once again, I'd say the most amount of powder you really want to do that with is probably about half a teaspoon, because that's going to be something you can feasibly take into the mouth, but too much, and yeah, you do have a little bit of a choking hazard there. So that's the simplest way to take these, but for many of the herbs, it's going to be much easier and better, especially depending on the taste, throwing it into water. So, simple way of doing that, just like this. Now, depending on the herb, some of them Some are raw herbs, some are extracted with water, some are extracted with water and alcohol. Different amounts of solubility with the herbs. Some of them, you can see the pine pollen right now is already starting to dissolve in there. With some of them, you don't even necessarily need, just like I poured that in my hand, you could pour it out in here, but in general, a good stir is going to help it go down. Some of the herbs are going to clump up to some degree. Pine pollen here mixes pretty well. And then just drinking your herbs like this. Very great way of doing this. And this, I'd say, is the simplest way of working with the powdered herbs. Stir it into water and drink it down. And you can do this in combinations. For instance, let's take, well, I already put pine pollen in here, but let's go with the Phoenix formula. So I want some extra pine pollen. Pine pollen is in the Phoenix formula, but we'll add some more onto it. Our dosage on this, and you can find the dosage on any of our labels. It always says there, 2 to 12 grams, which is 1 teaspoon up to 2 tablespoons. Very big range. Generally, you're going to want to start with the minimum of that, see if you notice the effects, but then you can start amping it up from there. You can also go outside the range. You can do half the dose, or you can do double it. You can really play with dosage of herbs and find what works for you and your body. So with the Phoenix here, now I mix that in, and same thing, just stir in the herbs. Once again, very simple way of doing this. And this applies any of the powdered herbs, you can do this. With something like the tomcat, because it's such a small amount of powder, just taking it straight in the mouth is generally much better. It's also extremely bitter tasting, so adding it to something like this, you're gonna spread out that flavor, much easier to get it over with in the first place. Oh, I'll also show you the trick there. So I'm not gonna take more tomcat right now because one dose is already quite a bit for me, but if you put some water in your mouth first, and then swallow it down, it's kind of like taking a capsule. You just, you have no actual capsule, but you use the water to just kind of have the powder sit on that and then swallow it down. It's a way you can get past of something bitter like the tomcat Ali, where you have a small dose. It's not going to work as well. Once again, you go up to a tablespoon, that trick's not going to work too well, but it does work with a smaller dose. So real simple way, once again, just mix it in water. You're going to get a feel for which herbs, some herbs work differently in different ways. Like you can do all this with all of them. Schizandra can go straight in water, but I like to take it straight. On top of water, you can mix it into tea. You can make your own sort of herbal tea just by throwing these herbs into hot water, the same way I just showed you with the cold water here. You can also, if the alcohol taste is too strong, it's not as great because you're not getting the sublingual absorption, but it is still going to work to some degree. But go ahead and squirt that tincture into your tea like that. In fact, if you have hot water, because alcohol has a lower boiling point than the water itself, some of that alcohol is going to evaporate off. So if you're very sensitive to alcohol, that can be one way to help get you past it. Of course, some alcohol is still going to remain. But let's say I want to throw some chaga in here. Same sort of thing, just get your dose and then put it in, stir it in. Really quite simple. Water and powdered herbs. That's what you want to do. The same ideas of just adding to water. Juice is also a good way you can work with the powders, especially to help mask some of that bad taste. So for instance, I have some lion's mane here. Now, lion's mane is not so bad itself, but we'll add that in. And I have some manzanita juice, essentially. Some soft cider right here. But we'll add in some lion's mane here and just swirl that around. Lion's mane is one of those that does not dissolve the best, but somewhat neutral flavor and then a little bit of sweetness from the juice here. And that tastes pretty good. And to make it more complicated, doing some sort of smoothies, whether you got fruit or greens or a combination of the two. Here I have just water along with banana, strawberries, spinach, coconut oil, and some hemp protein powder. So this would be a decent drink by itself. and we add some herbs on top of it. Now, when you are making shakes and smoothies and that sort of thing, you really do want to kind of understand the flavor profile you're going for. By all means, you absolutely can add all sorts of herbs together, and you'll probably end up with something that tastes pretty bad. But if you get some of our herbs, for instance, our goji berry juice powder, running out of spoons over here. This is going to definitely add some sweetness to whatever you're doing. That's one that I like for this reason. Another one is our beet juice powder, also sweet tasting. But just because these are sweet doesn't mean that they don't have some good benefits with them too. Those are two of the sweetest ones we have. Here we have the, is this the right one? No, that's pine pollen. Get these two jars that look the same. Mixed up sometime. This is our sea buckthorn powder, so some sourness to it. Definitely like that taste. The maca root also tastes pretty good. We'll throw some of that in here. So you can add just a single herb, or you can add a whole bunch of different herbs. Let's see. Yeah, some of these are close, so I want to keep that close. Hoshu Wu. Let's throw that one in there. Not a great tasting herb, though that one's not too bad. And we'll just go with that. So example, you could throw some albizia here. This one has a very pungent flavor to it. So with these smoothies and with the other herbs, you can try to mask flavors. So not a lot of people really like that pungent, spicy taste that the albizia has. So with enough other stuff, you can help to mask that. But there's also flavors that go well together. For instance, similar sort of thing here, but I'll often do this for coffee in the morning. Coffee, just like the tea we covered earlier, you can just throw some things in there. But if you make a blended drink, I like to add fats to my coffee, the bulletproof style. What I've been experimenting with is mixing the herbs directly into ghee and then just spooning that into here. I've not yet perfected this recipe, so I'm not sharing it, but this is ghee with chaga, cistanche, and Hoshu Wu all mixed together. There's a bit too much cistanche, so it's not the best flavor yet, so I gotta work on that, but I will be sharing that later. But that's the same principle there. Those flavors of chaga, cistanche, and Hoshu Wu, I find those go well with the coffee, so I mix it in there. Secondly, having a source of fat and taking the herbs with food. In general, if you are digesting food along with the herbs, you're gonna absorb them a little bit better just because they're spending more time in your stomach, in your small intestines, and everything. That doesn't mean you can't also take these herbs on an empty stomach. The difference there is you may absorb a little bit less, but you'll be able to generally feel them more because you're getting like a quick hit. More of it's dumping straight into your bloodstream that way in doing that. So there's benefits to taking herbs with food and to taking them without. You just want to understand that and realize that it does work with both in most cases. Okay, and we have my little smoothie here. It's kind of fun when you throw a whole bunch of herbs in there to see which has really what's going to be the strongest antioxidant potential. You see this is mostly red, and that's coming from the beet juice powder, which beats out the greens that from the spinach that was there, or some of the other stuff from the herbs. I guess the goji was helping a little bit with it, but really that beet juice has that deep dark red pigment, which is where some of its benefits are coming from. And this one tastes great. So like I said, learn the flavors of your herbs, learn how to mask those flavors when you want to, and learn how to combine it with different things to really kind of have that flavor profile there, but make it in a good way that works well together. So like I said, there's a lot more information that could be gone into. In the How to Take Herbs ebook, you'll see more ideas of specific recipes, different ways of combining these herbs. And of course, for any of the herbs individually themselves, we tend to have a video on our product detail page that describes some of the ways you want to take that, as well as some options there, describes the taste and whatnot, so what you want to do with those herbs. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them below. We'll be happy to answer them to you and help you to take these amazing herbs and help transform your life.